your top profit for this trade. What does price action do at resistance, right? Price action tends to reject. So here's the idea, right? Let's go through it again. Cool. So that daily time frame is bearish, right? We got a bearish daily time frame that is breaking out of that support, right? It's closing back below that support. So more than likely, this daily time frame here will continue that move into supports, right? So we haven't really tapped supports yet. So there's no area where that daily time frame could reject. There's nowhere where that daily time frame could reject from, right? You know? There's nowhere it can reject, right? So that means it has clean traffic to continue back down. The thing is, it's a daily time frame, so it's going to fluctuate. That means it's going to dance like that, right? Before it makes its way down. It's not just going to go boom, right? It's going to move around, fluctuate, and that fluctuation is going to look like structure on the lower time frame. So let's look at the 4, right? 4 also closed bearish, right? Strong bearish closure. If we understand candles, right, we know that if a candle closes bearish, the first thing it does is it creates a top wick, right? You know, let's say on the 50-minute time frame or the 1 hour, whatever time frame it is, it's going to create that top wick. The only difference on the 4 hour is that the 4 hour time frame is a 4 hour candle, right? So you might take an hour creating that top wick, an hour and a half, and then once it's done creating the top wick, it flips and it continues that move, right? So that's why we can't take buys, right? We got to take sells because we know that we can't, you know, we look at the 4 hour time frame and the 4 hour time frame is creating a top wick, and we're not going to buy the top of the 4 hour wick, right? We'll come to 1 hour, but we need a confirmation. That's what we're going to get into, right? The confirmation that we need to be able to take that trade, telling us that it's ready to, that 4 hour time frame is ready to go down. 1 hour time frame is pushing into resistance levels as well too. There's some resistance there on the left. We're pushing into that resistance level. We know price action tends to reject from resistance. 50-minute time frame, 30-minute time frame are all pushing into resistance. There's a major resistance up here, right? So this could be where price action wants to go, right? But although we got a support here, right? So we don't necessarily need price action to go up there, right? We don't need price action to go up there, right? What we need is we don't necessarily need that price action to go up there. You know, we could take the sells if price action closes back below the range, right? That's your confirmation, right? Now we're getting into confirmation, right? We understood why we're taking sells. We know why we're taking sells. Right, but that's not enough, right? You can't get bored there. You get bored. You know, okay, sells. You know, you get bored, right? And all of a sudden you stop there, and then you just press the sell button. Okay, I sell now. You know, now you got to finish the sequence. Okay, where's the levels where it could reject from? Here we go, support and resistance. What confirmation did I need, man? If price action closes back below here, there's a breakout. I can take the breakout back below the range, right? That's my confirmation. At this point, the 4 hour time frame is telling me that it's ready to continue going down. It's confirming I'm ready to go down, right? You know, same thing here. If price action decides to push up like this, right, and it's fading, we talked about this idea earlier. This might be the better idea, right? And it actually pushes into that resistance, and we get that strong bearish candle with that rejection from that resistance like this. You know, that will be the confirmation that price action is ready to go down. That's confirmation, right? You know, at this point, the 4 hour time frame, the 50-minute is telling us that the 4 hour time frame is ready to go down, right? And we can take the sells back down. But don't get lazy. Don't stop there. Don't get bored. Don't just take the trade, right? We still got to finish the sequence. Okay, what's the next step here, right? Entry models, man. We got to have an entry model. How do you enter the trade? You go market execute. You can't just market execute in the trade, right? You got to have an entry model. What is the next thing that the next candle is more likely to do before it continues back down, right? It's got to create a top wick. So the next candle's got to create a top wick. Boom. Now that that top wick is established, we have a healthy candle here, ready to continue back down. Same idea as the 4 hour, right? When it breaks the lows, it's more likely to push down. So your only logical entry is at the break of the low. So you take a sell stop, you put it at the break of the low, and you wait. You put your hands behind your back, and you wait, right? And now, at this point, price action, when it breaks the lows, it's more likely to push down, right? That's it. Full sequence. Sequence completed. Except, there's one more step, which is where are you going to take partials? Right here, right? You can look for those levels where price action can reject from to take partials to manage to go break even, right? Now you feel they completed the sequence, right? A lot of guys get lazy. They say, oh, sales, okay, per sales. Come on, man. It's lazy, bro. That's not trading. That's gambling, right? That's trading based off emotions, man. You want to trade based off facts, right? Confirmations, probabilities, right? That's how we trade. You know, it's boring, it's hard, you know, it's like watching paint dry, but that's what makes us profitable, right? That's what keeps us profitable. That's why it's made hundreds of people profitable in this academy. That's what kept me profitable for 5 years, right? That's what made me profitable initially, right? Because I was the guy that bottom ticket, bro. You know, all those guys would be like, oh, take the sales of the 5 minute, man. Oh, take the sales, oh, the bottom ticket, top ticket. Oh, they're cooked. Where you at, man? Look, man, where you at? You know, where you at, bro? Look, man, you just got spread open with no loot, bro. By the market. The market would be like, hey, man, thank you. I needed that. I needed that. You know, while we sat here waiting patiently, we did nothing, stoically, waiting for that breakout, right? We didn't lose anything, man. You know, so where the guy at? Where the flex man? Hey, man. Hey, man. Hey, man. Hey, man. Oh, I think sales, man. I think sales. Oh. Okay. What was your confirmation? Oh. Nothing. All right, that's enough. Finna take the trade and get funded. Hey, look, bro. You know, sometimes we finna do shit, man. How much money wants to join your academy? How much money to join the academy? $1 million, right? $1 million. Hey, man, that's $1 million, bro, to join the academy. Hey, bro, if you only knew, man, right? Ever use Heiken Ashi candles? Nah, bro. I don't think it doesn't show full price action, right? I want to see wicks, bro. Heiken Ashi doesn't show you that shit. It's just like weird. When does it end? Hey, look, bro, it never ends, bro. It never ends. How much money do you have to spend as a beginner? Probably just education, bro. You just need to spend enough to educate yourself. How much have you made day trading? I'm looking into get into it. Let's just say, right? It doesn't matter. Right? If you're trying to get into trading, why are you worried about what I'm doing, man? That's the bad attitude to get into trading, right? Oh, this guy said he made 150,000 by April this year. So that means I can do that too. Eureka! I found my way out. No, right? Look, bro. You know? These are some real questions, bro. Let me lock in, man. These are some serious questions. Let me make some more coffee and we'll lock in. Right? No more playing around. But these are some serious questions, man. Let's tackle them the proper way. Well, let me make some coffee first. Yeah, there's some serious questions, bro. All right, be right back. Can't take these questions lightly, right? Success, man. What is success to you? All right. I'll be right back. back. Can't promise I won't leave again, right? But I will promise that I'll always come back, right? Always come back, right? Sounds like I should learn what he does so I can repeat it too. I think so, man. I think, what we got here is something very special. So, what I've learned over the 5 years, right? And as a beginner, when I was trying to learn how to trade, there's a lot of stuff out there, man. A lot of noise, and there's a lot of strategies, right? I mean, you can probably count, there's probably thousands of strategies out there. But what I've learned is that you don't need a strategy, right? A strategy is just piece of the system, man. You need a full system, right? It's a rabbit hole, man. You spend years trying to learn a strategy, right? And then you go from this strategy to that strategy, and this one doesn't work, and that one doesn't work, and then this one doesn't work, and that one doesn't work, right? And you spend years doing that shit. And the reason for that is because most strategies are just strategies, man. They're just strategies, right? They're confluences telling you where price action is more likely to go, but it's not completed. It's not a system, right? You need a system. That's what you need, right? And that's what I learned. You need a system. So strategy is here, right? You need a system, right? A system in which you operate, right? In the market, right? That's what you need. A system where you operate, right? So here's how it works, right? There's got to be a system for your psychology, right? For your brain, right? You need a system for your psychology, right? You need a system for you to find bias, right? You need a system for you to find support and resistance. That's where the strategy comes, right? And then you need a system to enter, to confirm the trade. And then you need a system to enter. And then you need a system to manage the trade, right? So it's a full system. And then outside of that, you need a system to manage a business, right? So you need a complete system, not just the strategy. That's why the strategy feels like it doesn't work, because it's not complete, right? The strategy tells you, okay, why buy, why sell, but it doesn't tell you when. It doesn't tell you what confirms it. It doesn't tell you how to enter, right? It doesn't tell you how to manage it. It doesn't tell you how you should think before you enter that trade, right? And then it doesn't tell you how to manage your evals and how to manage your business, right? You need a full system. That's why strategies feel like it don't work. And that was where that missing link was for me, right? Okay, cool. Look, I'm gonna trade support and resistance, right? I know support and resistance, right? I know how to find it, but I also need something to confirm it, bro. That's where price action came in, right? And then I need a way to enter the trade, right? That's where I developed my own entry model, right? And then I need somewhere to manage the trade. I developed my own formula so that I never over risk on the trade, right? And then I need a way to find a bias, right? That kind of was part of support and resistance. And then I need a way to think, a way for me to operate while I'm looking at the charts, my emotions, right? So this is a full system here, right? This is what the playbook is. It's the playbook. It's a system. It's not a strategy. It's a system, right? So this is why when you trade a system, a strategy doesn't feel like it works, because it's not completed, right? So you need to learn a full system. These are the things that you must learn that are very important in your trading. You need to learn how to operate mentally, psychology, right? And then you need to learn how to find direction in the market. That's a bias. How do I find direction? How do I know if it's going up or down, right? And then you need to find a way to confirm that price action is ready to go in that direction. And then you need a way to enter that trade once the confirmation manifests itself. And you also need a system for you to manage your trade so that you never over risk, right? Right? And then you need a system that tells you when to get out of the trade, right? Most systems tell you when to get in, but it never tell you when to get out, right? So you need a full system so that you can operate properly in the market, right? Otherwise, you're running around trying to figure it out while being in the market. You need that beforehand, right? You need that beforehand. You know, like for example, today we're looking for sells. We know why we're looking for sells, right? We're looking for sells because the daily's bearish, the 4 hours bearish, right? Everything's at resistance right now. We know everything's pointing towards sells. But, you know, like these guys who were in here earlier who just pressed the sell button, right? They need to fix that because that's a problem. You know, just because we're looking for sells, it don't mean press sell button, right? Okay, I sell now, right? That's not what it means. You need something to confirm that, okay, now that we're looking for sells, something's got to tell us that it's ready to go in the direction because the price action fluctuates. It moves ups and down, right? But right now it's moving up. That's a pullback. At some point, something's got to confirm that it's ready to go down. It's not confirmed just because it's pushing into resistance. These guys put limit orders here and just wait for it to get activated. That's not how it works. You need a confirmation, right? What is the confirmation, right? So that's, you know, these are simple price action setups right here, right? A breakout. I mean, everybody's heard of a breakout, you know? Breakout. Price action ranges, you wait for a breakout. Everybody's heard of a fake out. Everybody's heard of a break and retest. These are simple. These are basic confirmations, right, in the market. So now you have your system of confirmation, how you confirm the trade, right? So we know we're looking for sells. How do we confirm that? By waiting for that fake out, price action faking back into that range. Once price action fakes into the back into that range, we can take the sells back down. All right, that's your confirmation. But remember the entry model. That's where the entry model comes in. We wait for the top wick and we enter on the break of the low. Right now you have a full system, and then you need the system to making sure that you're not over risking. Right, so you got to measure your stop loss. We got a full system for that, and then you need somewhere to tell you to get in and out. Right, so now you have a full system that helps you operate in the market, so that you're not thinking emotionally. Right, I know if this is a 50 pip stop loss, I got to, I'm risking 500. I can only put one contract. Right. You know, I know that price action tends to reject from the. I need to get out when that price action goes there. It's non-negotiable. I get partials, I go break even, right? You know, it's no emotions involved. It's just my system in which I operate. So that's what you need, right? That's your confirmation, right? If price action, right, decides to range here, we know that if price action decides to range here and it goes up and down and up and down and up and down, and it's just doing this sort of thing, going up and down, then we know, hey, look, we can look for breakouts. We wait for price action to break out below, we take breakout sells, right? Same idea, entry model, wait for the entry model, right? Management becomes the same, you know? So that's what you need, right? It's not finished. The thing that you're trying to learn, it's not completed, and that's why it feels like it never clicks, right? You can spend months, years trying to do it, and it never clicks, you know? Because you need a full system, right? And it's not going to come from one strategy. It's going to be something developed outside of it, right? Like psychology, right? Randy Howell. Go watch Randy Howell. Learn how Randy Howell operates on the thing, right? Watch us. Watch how we operate, right? When we're in a trade, emotionally, right? Think of, learn our psychology, right? That's what you need, man. What do you use for this? What do you mean? Like, what do I use for this? As far the system that I use is the playbook, right? I use the playbook. It's my playbook, King of Kings playbook, right? Psychology part, we talk about psychology every day, every single day. The bias part, that support and resistance, the confirmation, that's price action, right? Cool. We need the entry model. I developed my own entry model. I just showed you, right? Risk management. We have a formula that we use to be able to calculate risk management properly, right? We know where to get in and out. That's also support and resistance. We combine them all together. That's the playbook, right? It's not multiple strategies. It's one strategy complemented by a system. And you just watch the candle, yep. So you're predicting what can and could happen and betting off of your strategy. I'm not predicting, right? I'm anticipating that price action will do something based off probabilities, based off the fact that it's done it before, right? And then I wait for confirmation. I watch the candle, I wait for the confirmation to show up, and then I execute, right? That's as simple as it goes. That's the full system, right? That's the full system. We're anticipating it goes down, right? We're anticipating that it goes down, we wait for confirmation, we execute, right? That's the full system, right? 3 steps, man, But first it starts with creating a plan. So at the beginning of our session, we came here, we were firm, we said, this is the plan. and we waited, right? Now we're waiting for it. And if it don't show up, bro, it don't show up. We move on. Boom, right? You come back the next day, right? We come back the next session, right? We don't chase it. We don't try to be greedy and try to do something else, or try to finagle our way into it. No, we just move on. Simply, I need to hack my trading brain for success. I think you need alignment, bro. So earlier today you were saying, right, I want to become, I want to be, I want to be, I want to become successful. What if I told you that you already are, right? What if I told you that you already are? You're not trying to be anything, right? Trying to become implies that you want to change, you want to be a different person, but you're not trying to be a different person. How can you be a different person when you are you, right? So you're not trying to change, you're not trying to become. You need to switch that mindset, right? You already are profitable. You already are successful, right? So think about this, right? There's a sculptor, right? There's a sculptor, and this guy is sculpting, and there's a marble right here, right? The sculptor does not create David because David already exists. David is in the marble. But what the sculptor does is he simply removes everything that isn't David so that David is revealed. In the same way, you're not trying to create somebody who's successful. You're not trying to become successful. You already are. You simply must remove everything that isn't successful, everything that is not in alignment with that life that you want to live. You're removing what is not in alignment, and you're aligning yourself to that person that you already know yourself to be. You already are successful. You already are a profitable trader. Okay, cool. What are the responsibilities of a successful, profitable trader? He is disciplined. He has a system, right? So I must align myself with that so that I can reveal myself. You're not chasing it. You're not trying to become it. It is your responsibility to remain aligned to it. That's what it is. You're not trying to become nothing. You simply reveal yourself, right? You're not trying to create David because David already exists. That person exists. You're just not living in alignment with it, right? That's how you become successful. You don't chase it, you reveal it because you already are. You already are profitable. You already are disciplined. You already are patient. You just got to align yourself with it. Remove everything that's impatient. Remove everything that's not disciplined. Remove everything that makes you remove it. Remove it, ignore it, and align yourself to what you know yourself to be, right? You're a profitable trader. Profitable trader needs a system. Profitable trader needs a community to trade with so that he can trade with people and be held accountable. Profitable trader needs confirmation. So you got to go out there and find those things, implement it, because that's who you are, right? It is your responsibility. It's your duty to do that thing, right? It's not a choice, That's how you do it. That's how you do it, man. Align yourself, man. That was via Discord. Hey, but any video course on YouTube to go through? There any content on YouTube? Yeah, there is. I think it's privated right now. Though it's unlisted, right? So you gotta DM me, man. You gotta DM me. If you want the video, you can DM me, and I'll send you a 3-hour-long video that I did where I explained pretty much everything that you need, the full system. You can DM me, I'll send it to you. DM me on TikTok or Discord, and I'll send it to you. Mr. Arturo. Yeah. Speechless? Hey, bro. Look, bro. This will shift your mindset, right? That's the psychology that we're talking about, that system, right? To operate, for your brain to operate in, right? It starts with switching from something, from what you are to what you should be. Okay, cool. Now everything falls below it, right? It's in hierarchy, man. It starts with the I am, right? It starts with I am. You don't start from the bottom, right? A lot of traders want to start from the bottom, right? Remember we talked about this thing right here. Let me bring it back up. Right, we talked about this, right? Right here. Shoot. Let me see if I can bring it back up. Right here. Right there, right? So we talked about this, right? At the very bottom, right? It's when to get out, right? And then there's trade management and entry. Most traders want to start here, when to enter, right? But there's a hierarchy with this, right? This entry cannot exist without confirmation. Confirmation cannot exist without bias. Bias cannot exist without support and resistance, right? Support and resistance, and none of this can exist without you already being and believing that you are a profitable trader, because now this simply becomes a responsibility. You must align yourself to that because that's who you are, right? So these things cannot exist without it. Most traders want to learn entry, right? Buy, right? Like the guy, right? He's like, buy. He's starting from the bottom, right? You got to start from the top. It's a hierarchy. There's truth. There's truth that you are. You simply are a profitable trader. Okay, it is my responsibility as a profitable trader to look for a bias, find support and resistance, look for a confirmation, use my entry models when the confirmation shows up, and make sure that I'm managing properly so I'm not over-risking, and get out of the trade when I have to get out of the trade. It's my responsibility. It's my duty. It's not a choice, right? It's not a choice anymore. But it starts with you existing. You are a profitable trader. Existing as a profitable trader. That's the psychology, right? You know, that's where it starts. That's the hierarchy. You can't start from the bottom, man. You'll work your way back up. It ain't gonna work, right? That's what I did wrong. You know, that's what I did wrong, man. Is it free to join your group? Absolutely not. It's not free. It's not free to join my group, man. Private, right? You can join the Discord, though. Discord's free. Yeah, Discord's free. But it's not free to join the academy, bro. Actually, right now, you can join the trading room, right? I don't even think the academy is open right now. The academy is closed. You can only join the trading room. Where is my TikTok? You can only join the trading room, right? On my link tree, right here. Trading floor, right? You can join only the trading floor. And there's only 4 spots left, I believe. There's only 4 spots left. Let me see. There's only 4 spots left in the trading room. It's not a monthly thing. It's a one-time thing. You pay once. You trade with us forever, right? Be part of the community. There's only 4 spots left, too, so... There you go. The academy is not currently open. Only the trading room is. What? He said DM on TikTok. You can DM me on YouTube, man. Not YouTube. DM me on Discord, right? Discord or TikTok or anywhere, really. All right, just let me know who you are. I think it might be easier for you to DM me on Discord. Somebody was asking where Discord. Discord's right there, bro. Same link tree. When does the academy start up again? So the academy is exclusive only to trading room members, right? So you got to join the trading room member. You got to trade with us. We'll evaluate you, and then we'll put you in the academy later on, right? We got to see how you're doing. So that's where the trading was for. It's it's not a monthly thing, so you don't have to worry. There's no rush. And then once you're done, once we see you're okay, a couple weeks in here, this guy's doing good. He's showing up. He's putting in the work. It's time for him to join the academy. Now we can help him a little bit more, give him the one-on-one. First, you got to be exposed to the environment, right? And then you can join the academy later on within the trading room, right? That's the way it works, man. There's a hierarchy to it, right? Your way in is the trading floor. Trade with us every single day. And then you graduate into the academy. And then you can graduate as an elite member, but that's later on. And I think there's only 4 spots, bro. I think so. It'll shut down after 10 members. Easy, bro. Level up pretty much nice. Yeah, bro. This is your entryway, right? This is only for the first 10 people. And I believe we had 7 people join earlier today. There's only about 3 spots left. Yeah. And, once you're in, bro. You're in with us. We'll probably raise the price later on. We'll probably raise the price or make it a monthly thing. So, right now you got that chance to get in like that, Let me send this to the YouTube guys. Here. What is the trading floor and the academy difference? So with the trading floor, right, you get to trade with us every single day. and being here in the Zoom calls every single day, trading with us, learning from us. The academy is one-on-one mentorship. That's where I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to hop on calls with you, and I'm going to figure out where you're at and help you out. But I think we need to advance you just a little bit, right? A couple weeks inside the training room, and then I can start working with you one-on-one, right? So, yeah, the academy is just one-on-one, man. The best part to start is in the trading room, right? Coming in.
Hey.
Especially
No.
right now. Where it's just one big thing, right?
Spanner ini.
Spanner, ninge spanner. No ne ba?
Dia no next ko.
No 40, 40 ne no.
Cool, we're starting to fade here, guys.
Screw track.
So let's see if we can get this candle to do this. Right? We're at this resistance, and then we can look for this right here. Remember, we gotta wait for confirmations, man. The guys earlier, they got really excited about the sells.